This year we just came out with our Ryzen Pro 7000 desktop product, codenamed Raphael. So our new Ryzen Pro 7000 integrates our latest Zen 4 CPU core. It delivers boost speeds up to 5.4 gigahertz, and it's built on our one of our most advanced 5nm manufacturing technology solutions. This does use what we call our AM5 socket infrastructure. This is a socket that has support and longevity through at least 2025. It's also a socket that supports some of the latest I/O features such as DDR5 and PCIe Gen 5. So really enabling the best technologies, the best expandability for our customers with long life cycle. Really, for a lot of desktop customers that want a socketed solution, this gives them a really nice path for upgradability in a very seamless manner over the years to come. This product lineup consists of 3 primary SKUs. We very intentionally kept this very, very simple. So we have a Ryzen 9 Pro, a Ryzen 7 Pro, and a Ryzen 5 Pro. If we think about the desktop market, specifically around commercial desktop, we certainly see a consolidation of platforms amongst our customers. We also see a slower refresh cycle with respect to how often they are refreshing their desktop solutions. So by keeping this stack very simple, we're still delivering leadership performance and efficiency, but we're not making things overcomplicated. We're not creating a bunch of SKUs that are kind of niche, if you will. So at the top of our stack, we have our Ryzen 9 Pro with up to 12 cores and 24 threads and 76 megabytes of cache. We also have our Ryzen 7 Pro and our Ryzen 5 Pro. Again, all of these products have our AMD Pro technologies. They all are in that AM5 socket with support for DDR5 and PCIe Gen 5. To take just a minute and look at some competitive data, we'll look at our Ryzen 7 Pro and our Ryzen 5 Pro. These are the 2 SKUs that drive the most volume. They're the most, I'll say the highest demand products in that part of the market. This is our Ryzen 7 Pro head-to-head with the 13th gen Raptor Lake Core i7. And as you can see, across a wide range of use cases, from web browsing to creative work to productivity work and system performance, we deliver a very, very strong capability. That's really built predominantly on the back of that Zen 4 core. This product does have our integrated Radeon graphics as well, but in most cases, our commercial desktop buyers are not buying a product really focused on the graphics capability, and so really the heart and soul of this product is that Zen 4 CPU core. We also have some comparative data for our Ryzen 5 Pro. Again, this is also against 13th gen Raptor Lake Core i5. And here again, you can see really strong performance across a broad set of workloads with our Ryzen 5 Pro 7000 series desktop. So I mentioned briefly that AM5 socket. This is a really critical aspect around the value prop for this solution. So we have motherboards that are very affordable, but they enable customers to very easily install, replace, upgrade the processors that go into these infrastructures. So you can foresee a customer buying a platform and an infrastructure today, and then they have the ability to upgrade in the years to come. Significant power headroom, so this infrastructure does support higher power solutions for our non-Pro products, but for Ryzen Pro, we've really kept this to 65 watts. The reason for that is specifically as we look at our commercial users, they're not usually looking for the absolute best performance. In fact, in most cases, they're looking for the most efficient performance. And so in a 65 watt infrastructure, we can get these solutions into small form factor, even 1 liter type of designs in some cases. And so you really have the ability to deliver a compact solution, which in the commercial desktop space is important. So from an MNC or an OEM perspective, you can fit this into a 1 liter solution that could go into a call center in a very, very scalable manner. On the other end of the spectrum, you may have a component channel customer that is building their own system or provide a small number of white box systems, and they really want to trick it out with a lot of components. We have the flexibility with this infrastructure to support all of those customers. So to summarize our Ryzen Pro 7000 desktop, we have leadership performance with up to 12 cores and 24 threads and a very, very efficient 65 watt infrastructure. It's built on that AM5 socket. Again, key there is longevity and access to the latest and greatest feature in I/O technology. And then it also has our AMD Pro technologies. This is a set of features that all of our Ryzen Pro products have, whether they be on the mobile or the desktop side, really focused on the feature set that our IT professionals are looking for. Strong emphasis on security, strong emphasis on manageability, and it's a set of technologies that has allowed us to make a lot of inroads and strides within our commercial business. If you're familiar with Intel vPro, this is our set of features for a managed IT environment that go toe-to-toe with the vPro set of features. All right, let's make a quick transition to our Ryzen Pro 7040 mobile processors. So as we think about the mobile side of things, this is the lion's share of the volume within the commercial PC space. This is where we see a lot of the latest innovation amongst the industry and where we see the most demand amongst our customers. There are a lot of challenges. It's a very fast-moving environment right now. You think about all of the discussion around AI. You think about a CIO or a CSO trying to think about how do we take advantage of these trends, these new use cases. One of the things that we certainly see is that hybrid work and the ability to be productive and collaborate no matter where you are, that is a trend we do not expect to go anywhere. And so we've designed our products specifically with a strong focus on being able to deliver the best collaboration experience and the best mobile experience. You think about the macroeconomic environment, having a strong ROI around these purchases and these acquisitions is critically important. Customers are looking to have platforms that have the performance and the battery life today that gets customers through a 3 or 4 year life cycle of holding onto that platform, right? So if you start off with poor battery life or you start off with marginal performance, as the workloads evolve, as your battery degrades, that becomes a really, really bad user experience. With our Ryzen Pro products, we're delivering a performance and a battery life experience out of the gate that is really exceptional, ensuring that users can use these platforms for 3 years, 4 years, and maintain high levels of productivity. You think about the AI, we talked briefly about it, we'll talk more about it later. What is going on with AI? It's like, what are the use cases? Where is it today? You think about just 6 months ago, what we were talking about, and how much that has evolved versus where we're at today. The conversations around AI, the use cases, the applications, it's a very different conversation than it was, or a very different conversation today than it was 6 months ago. Think about where that's gonna be 12 months from now, or 3 years from now, right? So one of the things, or one of the themes I'll say that we see is everybody knows that we need to expect the unexpected. We don't know where all of this technology is gonna take us, but we know that things are gonna change, and so it's important to have hardware and solutions that are prepared to adapt to the unknowns of the future. And then last but certainly not least, we see an increasing rate of customers who are very focused on doing their own part around setting sustainability goals. And with our Ryzen Pro processors, we deliver really an unmatched efficiency within our products that allows us to play a small part in helping our customers achieve their sustainability goals. And so you think across all these fronts, we're really excited with our Ryzen Pro 7040 lineup. We really help our customers achieve or work towards achieving goals and take on some of those challenges. So our Ryzen Pro 7040, powered by our latest and greatest IP and technology. We have our Zen 4 core, that's really the heart and soul of the product. This product is built on our industry-leading 4nm technology. It integrates our RDNA 3 graphics, which is our latest generation graphics architecture. And it is the first x86 processor to have that integrated Ryzen AI solution. Really excited about that. We'll talk through some of those use cases here in a few minutes. So with our Ryzen Pro 7040, similar to what we talked about on the desktop side, we have a very simple product stack. We believe simplicity is good. It avoids confusion. It helps our customers make really crisp, clean decisions. And we have a set of products that frankly deliver both the performance and the efficiency that allow us to do this without having to fragment and complicate the market. So we have our HS series. This is really a set of products that is ideally suited for mobile workstations or creator types of applications. It's very, very high performance. But we also have our U series products, and that's what we believe is really ideal for a commercial notebook space. Our U series products start at 15 watts. They deliver really outstanding performance and responsiveness with really an unmatched level of power efficiency. And the vast majority of these SKUs also feature that integrated Ryzen AI technology to take advantage of some of the new features as well as many to come in the years to come. So I talked about the simplicity of our product stack. Let me give you an example of that. Here we're looking at our Ryzen 7 Pro 7840U. We have one product that is a U series product. Our competition has responded to that with a fairly complicated stack of 4 different products. So where we have our single Ryzen 7 U series product, they have 4 different SKUs in what there is their U series as well as their P series. Now, any one of these products can run Windows, they can all run Office, they can all allow an employee to be productive with basic tasks. But if you look at which of these products can really deliver the best performance in a complex multitasking environment, it really bears down to just one. It's that Core i7 1370p. And then when you take that a little bit further, you go, which of these products can deliver the best battery life and the best efficiency and really deliver a great user experience all around, where you can be mobile and the computer's not too hot to touch? You really don't have any options. So yes, they have this 1370p, which is a very good performing part, and I'll show some performance benchmarks in the next slide. But really that Ryzen Pro 7840U is the only product that checks all the boxes. Great productivity, outstanding multitasking, and the power efficiency and battery life to go with it. So if we look at performance, what we've done here is we've taken that Ryzen 7 Pro 7840. Here we've stacked it up against 3 of the competing SKUs, the 1365U, the 1360p, and the 1370p. And you can see in Geekbench and PC Mark, we have a strong leadership position across all of those. These are pretty common benchmarks amongst our customers when they're evaluating a purchase. Passmark 11, that's one where you can see, really strong performance against the 1365U and the 1360p, but admittedly that 1370p, a very good performing part there, right? So we don't take that away from them. They have a very good performing part. But as we think about real world use cases, that's where our Ryzen Pro products really, step away from the competition. Real world use cases today is more often than not heavily dominated by multitasking. If you're anything like me, you typically have multiple Microsoft Office applications open. You're running Outlook, and PowerPoint, and Excel. You might have a browser tab or a browser open with a dozen tabs that are open. You're running a video conference at the same time, right? This is a multitasking environment, but it's also a very real world use case that many business users look at. And so what we did is we tried to replicate this by running a set of benchmarks where we run Microsoft Teams with a 9-person Teams meeting at the same time that we ran Microsoft Office. This is our Ryzen 7 Pro against the 1370p, so it's the same part that delivered slightly better performance on Passmark than our top of the line product. And here in this real world use case, you can see that we deliver 12% better performance, we consume 15% less power, and overall we're 29% better performance per watt. And so again, so as we think about those real world use cases, that multitasking environment, our Ryzen Pro products are really optimized and designed for those types of use cases to deliver that uncompromising performance and energy efficiency story that only we're able to deliver. Let's talk about efficiency a little bit more. So we can look at benchmarks around battery life. There's a lot out there. There's Mobile Mark, there's video playback, there's Windows idle, and all of those absolutely have their place. And if you look at our platforms and market, you'll see in the vast majority of cases our platforms deliver the best battery life on those benchmarks. But more importantly, from our perspective, is how do we design our products to have the best real world battery life? Because we've all seen the Mobile Mark numbers, it's like 19 hours, right? But real world experiences never track with Mobile Mark or video playback. It's just not how these systems actually work in the real world. So here what we did is we ran Microsoft Teams, and we saw how long can you run a 9-person Microsoft Teams meeting on these different platforms. Again, a pretty real world use case. You think about an employee in the office, come into the office, they get set up, they've got a couple meetings throughout the morning, they unplug, they walk into these different conference rooms, they're on a Teams meeting while even though they're in the room with maybe a Teams meeting on the front, they're also on the Teams meeting so they can share content or collaborate and participate. So this is a very real world use case, and you can see that 1370p that delivered the best performance, that's over here about 4 hours. In order for them to get a little bit better battery life, they actually have to go down to the 1365U, which is one of their lower performing parts, and they get a little bit better battery life to 4 hours and 18 minutes. Here we've also shown the Apple M2 Pro, right? That has been considered really one of the best in class solutions from a Teams battery life perspective over the last couple of years. And it's a great result. We're really excited that we're taking over this top spot here with our Ryzen 7 Pro 7840U. So at 6 hours and 48 minutes, real world battery life test, running Microsoft Teams. Again, we're really focused on designing our products to deliver the best performance and the best battery life in real world use cases, and that's what we're demonstrating.
And the smallest battery pack?
That is a great observation. That's exactly right. So on the platforms that we tested, not only did we get the best battery life, but we did it with the smallest battery. And so if you actually look at the power consumed, we consume the least amount of power across everything, a little bit even more pronounced. Briefly, just to provide a few data points on the M2 Pro versus our Ryzen 7 Pro. You can see here we measured Cinebench and Passmark 11. Now, with an Apple device, we can't run quite as many benchmarks as we're able to on Windows devices. Not all the benchmarks work, but this hopefully gives you a little bit of a feel for the strong performance capabilities. Again, this is our U series product. A lot of platforms ranging 15, 18 watts. We have the support up to 28 watts, but most of the products incorporating this Ryzen 7 Pro U series product are 15 watt products, and delivering a really, really strong toe-to-toe performance against the Apple M2 Pro.
But just the CPU performance, so M2 is also GPU is much better.
So there are, right, so if you look at the M2 lineup, there's the M2, there's the M2 Pro, there's the Max, there's the Ultra, right? Yeah, so this is, fair point, this is a very CPU-centric view of this, yeah. I mentioned this a minute ago, but again, all of our Ryzen Pro products support our AMD Pro technologies. So this is a set of features focused on security, manageability, and business ready. Really key to a managed IT environment for them to be able to image, deploy, provision, monitor, track, and secure their IT ecosystem. So there's a broad set of features that really fall into each of these buckets, exclusively available on our Ryzen Pro products. We introduced this brand about 4 years ago, and when we first introduced it, and we started putting it head-to-head with our competition's vPro lineup of products, we had a number of gaps and deficiencies from a feature set perspective. So very transparent about that. But if you look at this feature set today, we really do a good job of going toe-to-toe with them on all of those features. Our customers know about these feature sets. We work with our customers to evaluate and place our products into their IT environments, and we've done so with tremendous success. So very strong progress over the last few years around this feature set. It's an area that obviously we'll continue to invest. It's not like security threats are going to go away. So this is an area that we're very committed to making sure that we invest and continue to develop new capabilities. But these features are very strong, again, focused on that pro or that enterprise type of deployment environment. So it's certainly not a comprehensive view, but just to give you a feel for some of the platforms, especially with some of our biggest customers. HP and Lenovo obviously are our largest customers on the commercial side. We have many other platforms with other customers as well. But we're excited to be refreshing the EliteBook and ProBook lineup of products with HP this year, led by our Ryzen Pro 7040. And as we look at Lenovo, very excited to refresh the vast majority of their ThinkPad products with that Ryzen Pro 7040, and then really round it out with some mainstream products with the ThinkPad L and ThinkPad E, with some of our, what we call our Ryzen 7030 products as well that are already in market. So strong portfolio, continue to be very focused on growing in this market, and really delivering that leadership technology and capability.
Oh, Dell.
We have, I say, a more limited portfolio with Dell. So we have some SMB platforms in the Vostro lineup. Mm-hmm. We also just recently, about a little over 2 quarters ago, we just launched a Precision 7865 workstation with our Threadripper Pro lineup of products. So yeah. I'm not talking about Threadripper Pro here today, but it is a breakthrough, absolute industry-dominating solution from a performance standpoint in the workstation side, and that's been a really fun and exciting engagement partnership with Dell there. So, all right, let's talk about AI. All right, so as we think about AI, with our Ryzen Pro 7040 lineup of products, we're introducing this feature set we call Ryzen AI. It is the first x86 processor with an integrated and dedicated AI accelerator built into the product. And I think the big question that we see as we talk to our customers and partners and just kind of the broader ecosystem is, okay, great, you're putting AI technology in the product, but how do we use this? Right? We saw this morning in all the presentations a long discussion and a really impressive portfolio of products that are cloud-centric or data center-centric. And that is where the AI conversation has been. Question for the room, how many people have actually engaged with ChatGPT and interfaced with it? Quite a few. Good. So, what I've found as I start engaging with that is, it's a little bit of a different experience than I expected, right? Like when I first jumped in and started doing it, I was thinking, like, if my brain was like, let's put Google searches in, right? But I've actually found that the more conversational you are with it, the better it is. But it's amazing, like you can literally have this conversation with this, this chatbot that is just incredible, and you can learn a lot, and it's amazing how intuitive it is. But all of that processing is being done in the cloud. Every time I type something in, that's going into the cloud, it's getting processed in the cloud, and then it spits the result back to me. It's all being done in the cloud. And that's where this technology is today. Really, all of the AI capabilities are being done in the cloud today. The training obviously is being done in the cloud, but even the inference is being done in the cloud. And so you see this just rapid expansion of these generative AI technologies that are coming to market. You have these LLMs, you have things that are, applications and use cases that are focused on image generation, like Stable Diffusion as an example. All of that's being done in the cloud. And even as we showed this morning, we have just incredible efficiency gains that are coming in our roadmap and our portfolio around being able to do more with less power. The reality is that environment is going to be very expensive to scale out and to build, right? OpenAI is already charging people to actually use that tool because the infrastructure is very, very expensive, and the number of people that have logged on and wanted to use that technology, it's really overwhelming the compute capability that they have. And so where we believe this is going is to what we call a hybrid AI environment. And this is an environment where, yes, you absolutely have a strong cloud-based set of solutions, and you still do the vast majority of your training in the cloud, you still do a lot of inference in the cloud. But you also enable an endpoint device with AI capabilities that start to deliver some of those experiences that are computed right there on the device. There's a lot of different considerations and benefits of this, but think about a use case where you have some pictures on your device, and you want to go scan those pictures for pictures that include my family with my kids on a beach, right? If you're going to do that in the cloud, if those devices, if those pictures are really on your device, and that's got to run in the cloud. Now, not only do you have to send the command into the cloud, but you actually have to scan all of that data for those pictures into the cloud for it to do the inference and then give you results back. So that's an example of something you could do on the client device in a way that would actually give you better performance. You're going to get a much faster response if that process is done on your device and it gives you feedback real time as opposed to having to push it to the cloud, because you don't have the data latency of moving data back and forth into the cloud. You can also think about an environment for business. Maybe a business, or you're an employee in a business and you're running some kind of financial model or running some data analysis with proprietary information. You just don't want to move that into the cloud. You don't want to push that data in the cloud because it's confidential. You don't want to take any chances somebody could get access to it, right? Maybe there's an opportunity to run that more locally in a way that helps you protect your privacy and security and protect some of that confidential information. So there's a lot of different reasons why having local-based compute around AI is really important. And I think the reality is the world around this space is going to be very complicated and it's going to be very nuanced. But there's a lot of use cases that running these models, running the inference on the endpoint device is going to deliver a better user experience. It's going to be more power efficient, and it's also going to take some of that demand off of that scaling infrastructure on the cloud side. That's going to be cost prohibitive in a lot of cases. So we talked about this explosion of generative AI, how that's going to, it's going to require, an exponential increase in investments around cloud solutions, around cloud hardware. It's going to be, that inferencing is very, very costly, and that's why we need to move into this hybrid environment. And so I've talked through a lot of these already, but the enhanced experiences, having something that's a little bit more personal, having a faster response, again, better security or privacy of data, and reliability. And when I say reliability, it's from a standpoint of, hey, maybe you're on a plane and it doesn't have Wi-Fi, right? Could you still, in a future use case where you have a personal AI assistant that's helping you organize your inbox or something like that, could you still run some of those applications on the device if it's run locally? That's a nice little capability that you can only get if you have this technology on that endpoint device.
So, does it mean that there will be an cannibalization between the MI X and this approach, the hybrid approach? Because the MI X is more for cloud, right?
Yeah, good. So good question. And so the question is, hey, is there going to be cannibalization between the capabilities we have here and what we see with our Instinct lineup of products? I think the answer is no. And the reason I say that is because each of those products have their own specific application and use case. They kind of have their own role to play. If you look at our Instinct lineup of products, it's really ideal for that cloud application. Really on the training side, it can also support the inference capabilities that are in the cloud. But we're not going to take that capability and the raw compute horsepower and put that on the endpoint device. So as we start thinking, and this gets into a broader conversation around what models do we run in the cloud versus which ones do we run on the endpoint, and that's a conversation that I'll say the ecosystem is working through as we speak. But I don't think you're seeing a cannibalization discussion. I think you're going to see a rise of both of those, just kind of on the two sides, one being in the cloud, one being on the endpoint. So the benefits of Ryzen AI having this integrated hardware, number one, we're the only x86 solution in the market with integrated AI capabilities, right? So that's going to allow us to much more rapidly scale out to the number of systems that can take advantage of this capability, right? As opposed to discrete solutions that can get added on. It adds BOM costs, it adds complexity, not all the platforms are going to take it. We have that solution integrated, so the adoption is going to naturally move faster because users who are going to use this Ryzen Pro 7040 line of products, they're going to have that inherent capability built into the device. Performance, super critical consideration, local, integrated, dedicated hardware. Don't have to wait for the latency of moving stuff in and out of the cloud and having the data done or the data processed in the cloud. Security and privacy, this is one of the key areas that comes up time and time again in conversations we have with our customers. A lot of CIOs right now are trying to think about how do I use AI technology to make my workforce more productive? How do I use it to make better decisions? That's a really important consideration. They're also really worried about their data kind of getting, or losing control of their data and confidential information. So this is a really critical one. And we talked about the cost of that data center footprint or the infrastructure in the cloud. It really becomes prohibitive. And so having the ability to scale some of these use cases into that client really opens up a new door of opportunity for us to really comprehensively take advantage of this AI technology. So where are we starting? This year with our Ryzen Pro 7040 lineup of products, we're starting with a strong focus on video collaboration. Now I'll be very transparent. This is a small first step in what is a much bigger journey around enabling AI on the client device. We've partnered with Microsoft closely to enable a set of features and capabilities in what we call, or in their Windows Studio effects, really focused on video conferencing experiences. Now, one of the key things we did with Microsoft here is we didn't only design this for Microsoft Teams. We actually implemented this below the OS layer. And so even though it is in strong partnership with Microsoft, this will work on multiple video conferencing technologies. So whether it's Teams or Zoom or Google Meet or some others, you're going to get some of these better experiences taking advantage of this technology. So just to give you a few examples, better background blurs that are more specific and precise around kind of how they blur around the body, and also three-dimensional depth. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this, but if you're watching a video conference and a background blur, if somebody like points to a whiteboard or something, it oftentimes loses the depth and it can't figure out where to blur and where not to. And so this delivers a significantly enhanced set of capabilities there. Auto framing, so that if somebody's moving around the room kind of like I'm doing, I'm not all over the place, but I'm moving a little bit here. You can track that a little bit better. And then eye gaze correction. This one's kind of minor, but it's actually, it's very noticeable, right? If you're sitting on your computer and you're talking to it, it's visible for people on the other side that you're looking at the screen, you're not looking at the camera. And so it's little things like that to help people feel just a little bit more engaged. So none of these experiences are really new or unavailable in the market today, but this is important because we're going to accelerate these experiences using that dedicated AI hardware. And we're going to be able to process these experiences with a much more efficient set of hardware as opposed to where it's being done today, which is either on the CPU or the GPU. So we're enhancing and delivering, you know, an incrementally better experience while at the same time consuming significantly less power. And I think equally as important as all of that is it's really laying a foundation for where we go with this technology over the coming years. So strong focus on collaboration today, but where is the technology going in the next few years? A lot of different use cases we can imagine, and I will guarantee you that where we land a year from now, 3 years from now, you know, it's going to be a lot of different areas that we may not anticipate all of them, right? The last 6 months, if it's any indication, nobody would have predicted that we're where we are today, right? There's a lot of research, there's a lot of development going into these areas. Some of the areas that we see as very promising, improving the ability to do data analytics, right? Can we use the AI engine on the device to actually do a better job of running analysis on different data sets that may be in different documents on your computer? Having a personal AI assistant. This was one that has a lot of promise for improving personal productivity, helping you manage your calendar, helping, you querying your computer at the end of the day and saying, give me a summary of the most critical conversations that I had, and it being able to actually give you some feedback or give you a set of actions that you took from a meeting. These are things that can help us be more effective at our jobs. Computer vision is an area that can absolutely take advantage of this AI acceleration hardware. And that has a lot of potential benefits. Number one, it could continue to deliver a better collaboration experience as we think about video conferencing as an example. But it's also a set of capabilities that can enhance the privacy of a computer. If you think about privacy screens, the ability for your computer to actually know your face and know if you're the one looking at the computer or if you're not, it blur the screen so that data isn't readable. Or make sure that if somebody comes and looks over your shoulder, it's like, hey, unless I explicitly say let somebody else look over my shoulder, it could detect that that's happening, it could blur the screen, right? So you start thinking about use cases being on a plane or somebody looking at confidential information and not wanting other people to see that. These are use cases that become reality very quickly with computer vision. And then if we think about creators, you think about applications like Stable Diffusion, what that can do around image generation. I mean, this could fundamentally reshape the way that a lot of creators do their job, whether it's images or video or audio. There's a lot of different use cases we can think of here where creators have a new set of tools at their fingertips to do their jobs differently, better, and really kind of reshape that part of the industry. So, all of these concepts, one of the core foundational pieces of this is you have to build out an ecosystem. You have to work with partners and you have to stand up the software capabilities to develop and to qualify and bring these solutions to market. One of the things hopefully that stood out in the presentation from this morning was just how many different aspects of our product portfolio are now being touched, and how many of those products we're integrating our AI technology into. Our Ryzen Pro 7040 mobile processors is the latest example of that. But that software ecosystem, the partnerships here, that's an area that we are very, very focused on, ranging from our OEM partners to OS partners and many other third-party software developers. That's going to be a critical space, and we're working closely with many of them today to sample the solutions that we have in market. So we get to see some of these collaboration experiences this year, but we're also using this technology to go develop and prototype the next generation of capabilities that we'll see in our iteration or our roadmap and our products in the years to come.